Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we're taking a look at the brand new Soap Studios Newt Scamander. And if you're not familiar with this character, he's basically the main antagonist of the Fantastic Beasts franchise. Fantastic Beasts is like a prequel franchise to the Harry Potter franchise, but it's not necessarily a prequel to the events that took place in Harry Potter. It just kind of takes place in the same universe. And I'm into that. I like the Harry Potter universe. I did see the first Fantastic Beasts and I did like it. I haven't seen Crimes of Grindelwald, and that's what this figure is based on. But so I might not know about every single thing in this box, but I'm familiar with the character and I know what's going on with him. But anyways, I am very excited about this figure because this is in fact the first ever Soap Studios figure that I've had. And I've been interested in Soap Studios for quite a while, but I just haven't been able to pull the trigger on any of the figures. I did want to get the Flash figure, but I wasn't able to find it for a good price. But maybe one of these days I'll track it down. But the reason why I have this figure is because I was fortunate enough that Soap Studios actually reached out and offered to send this to me so that I could review it. And that is awesome. So huge shout out to Soap Studios for doing that. That's incredible. Thank you so much. But let's go ahead and get into it, starting with the box. You are able to see the figure. You can see some of his accessories. There's some more accessories hidden behind the artwork here. And this is actually a picture of the character himself. So that's pretty cool. I like the color and the design of the packaging. It's collector friendly. The figure looks good in there. All that good stuff. On the side, it says Newt Scamander 112 action figure. On the back, we get a look at all the accessories that the figure comes with. And then we have some really cool shots of the figure itself. So that's awesome. And then down in here, it gives us like credits to who worked on the figure. So that is really dope. I love when they give the people that actually worked on the products themselves some shine. So that's awesome. And then on this side, we get a look at the actually, I thought that was the figure. It looks like that's just a picture of the actor. But yeah, the packaging's cool. It's small. It's collector friendly. All that good stuff. But let's go ahead and open it up and take a look at the figure. Okay, so here we go. We got Newt out of the box, and I think this is a really nice looking figure. I think the clothes is tailored very well to the figure itself. It looks like an actual person wearing clothing. It doesn't look too big or baggy or awkward. So I'm really into the way that the figure looks. I think they did a good job with it. And let's go ahead and take a look here. So the jacket has like a bendy wire in it. It doesn't have a bendy wire all the way through, just pretty much on the lining of the jacket. So you could get some, a little bit of like the jacket flaring up when he's like walking or something like that. So that works out pretty good. And the material on the figure all looks pretty good, except for like on the interior vest. I feel like it's a little thin. And for the most part, I think this figure looks really good. There's a few things on here that I dislike, and we'll look at those in just a second here. But for the most part, I think the soft goods are very well done. And check out this jacket. This is really nice. You have like the material on the outside, and then the material on the inside is a little bit different, like an actual jacket. So that is really cool. On the back, we have these like belt things, and I think this is kind of weird. I don't know if that's exactly how the jacket is, but I don't know, it's kind of a weird style of jacket. But yeah, I think overall the figure looks really, really nice. And taking a closer look at the details on the figure, starting off with the head sculpt, it does look realistic. The skin tone looks good. It doesn't look too plastic or waxy or anything like that. It looks like an actual person, so that's dope. The one thing I love about this is the eyes. Check out the shimmer to the eyes. It looks super realistic. So that is very cool. And then he's got his crazy hair. This character was kind of like weird and eccentric, so this goofy hairstyle kind of fits him. But it's very well done here. The sculpting's nice. It looks like it's black with some like brown highlights and stuff, so that looks good. Same thing on the face. The subtle paint around the eyes looks nice. And like I said, the skin tone is very well done, and I think it actually looks like a person. So it does a very good job of capturing the look of the actor and the character. And let's go down into the suit details here, and that's where we get into something I really dislike, and that would be the bow tie. I think this kind of looks a little cheap and lazy. It looks just like a piece of fabric kind of glued onto the collar. So I'm not crazy about that bow tie there. But, I mean, from a distance, it looks fine, and, it sells it. But up close, it looks a little cheap. So I wish they would have done a little bit better there. And then one more thing I dislike about this is the way that the buttons look. I feel like they look a little too flat, and they don't look like actual buttons. Just look like, paint or something on the fabric. Aside from those two issues, I really like the way the costume details look. I mean, the suit details. And I love how there's like different layers and different types of fabric and stuff going on here. I think that's awesome. It adds a lot of depth to the overall look of the figure. And I just really like the way this jacket looks. Check out the clean stitching. And I love the material of this jacket. It feels like an actual jacket, so that is cool. And it's all just very well done. All the stitching is very clean. I do have one loose stitch somewhere. I'll show you that in a second, but let's take a look at this here. But yeah, this is like an actual vest. And the jacket is removable, but it doesn't look like the vest and the overcoat thing is removable. In fact, they're attached to each other. So there's that. And then the pants look really good too. You got some belt loops in there. Doesn't look like he has an actual belt. The pockets they are real, so you could stick his hand in there if you want. I do have a loose stitch here in the crotch area. That kind of sucks. But aside from that, the pants look really good and they look very realistic as well. Check out the pattern that we have going on here. Well, then down into the boot. The boot is sculpted very well too. There's a lot of nice details. You can see all the stitching, the laces. And I love how they put like this green at the end of the boot to make it look like dirty, like he's been running around hunting down those fantastic beasts. So that's cool. But yeah, I think the overall look of this figure is very nice. The soft goods are very well done. And like I said, they're tailored to the figure itself very well. So it looks like an actual dude wearing clothing. But yeah, the details are very nice with the exception of those two things that I pointed out, which would be the bow tie and the buttons. Everything else looks really good. And for accessories, he has a bunch of cool stuff going on. But let's start off with the simple stuff, which would be the multiple sets of hands. So first off, we have a pair of fists. And then we have a set of open, relaxed hands. And seeing them like this kind of makes the hands look like they're huge, but I don't think that's the case. I just think that they made the body underneath the clothing a little bit smaller so that the articulation isn't that hindered by the clothing. But when you have the hand like with the sleeve all the way down, it looks fine. But if you bring the sleeve up, it makes it look like it's a huge hand against this tiny little forearm there. But you know, I think that was intentional and it works overall. And he comes with 3 different types of gripping hands. Here's the first type, which is just your regular type of grip where you could stick the wand in there. And you could also use that wand if you'd like, whatever this thing is. I'm not sure what the deal is with that, but it does fit into his hand. And the next set of gripping hands have a little bit of a tighter grip, and I think these are cool. I think they look a little bit more interesting than the previous set because it makes it look like he's actually using his wand rather than just holding it. So I think that works out pretty nice, and it does fit very snug into this hand, but not so much on this hand because it's a little looser. You could stick it in between the fingers and it'll stay. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. But it's kind of like, you know, it's a little weird getting it in and out of there, but it works, you know, and he could definitely grip onto it. But I think it works a lot better on this side. And then the final set of gripping hands can be used to hold onto his suitcase. And the pegs are a little small, so I would advise that you heat up the hands just a little bit, or at the very least, don't change out the hands if you're in a real cold room, because even though my pegs have held up pretty well, they still make me a little nervous every time I remove the hands. But I mean, there's nothing indicating that it's going to break or anything. There's no cracks or stresses or anything like that, but I just get a weird feeling when I'm switching the hands out. But if you heat the hands up just a little bit, then it makes it a lot easier. See, they come on and off very easily. But right out of the box, you'll see trying to remove the fist, it's kind of hard. So warm it up a little bit just to be safe. And taking a closer look at the suitcase itself, I think this thing is very nice. And even though it's plastic, it still looks good with the figure. It doesn't clash or anything like that. And the reason why is because it's so detailed. And this thing is just really cool. Check out like all the studs that go all the way around the suitcase. You've got all these details in there. And something I didn't notice until I was looking up close here is that the corners actually have like these metal plate. I mean, it's not metal, but you know, it's supposed to be like metal plates on the corner of the suitcase so it doesn't get damaged when you put it down. That is awesome. Then on the front here, you have these latches and these like keyholes. And these latches are very soft plastic, which you could just kind of flip up and then you're able to open this up. And then this looks really good too. He's got a picture of his lady friend in there. I think this is like a passport. It says New York. And then look at that. You have some drawings of some beasts he's probably trying to hunt down. Some more stuff down here. And I really like the pattern on the inside of this suitcase. That's like something you'd see in an actual suitcase. So I think that's awesome. And this is cool because you could actually store some of his accessories in there if you want. So that's always cool to have. But yeah, I like the way this looks a lot. And then he also has his little creature friends that he comes with. And I can't remember if these guys have names. On the back of the box, it calls this one a niffler, and it calls this one a bow truckle. But I think that might just be like the name of the species. I thought these guys had names. The green one for sure had a name because he was talking directly to him. This one, he spent most of the movie most of the first movie chasing him around. So I can't remember if he said his name. These things do look really nice. They're sculpted very well. There's not a lot of detail to them, but they're very small. So they still look good and they make for really cool little display pieces to go along with your figure. This guy here has a lot of nice detail on it. It's very well done. Check out the bow truckle here. I think that's how you say it. Yeah, bow truckle. And once again, not a lot of detail going on, but it does look good and it'll look cool to kind of find a place to put this little guy onto the figure itself, like on his shoulder or something. I kind of wish it didn't have the base, because it's gonna be kind of hard to hide that on the figure. It would have been cool if it was just like just the figure without the base, but I understand why they put it there, so he could actually, you know, stand up. He wouldn't, you know, there's no way he could have done that without the base, but it's gonna be hard to find a way to like put him on the shoulder and hide that little stand, you know. I don't know. I could probably figure something out. We'll have to see. But I do appreciate that he did come with these little guys. And then it does come with this backdrop, which I wouldn't really consider an accessory, but it does make note of it on the back of the box, so I figure I should mention it. And it does have some pretty cool artwork and stuff like that, but it's not really functional, you know. It's not very realistic. You can't really see what's going on there. So, you know, to me, this is more just like a cool part of the packaging, not necessarily an accessory. But like I said, it notes it on the back. So there it is. And then the final accessory would be this really cool looking stand. It's like a little 3-piece thing. It has the base, the post, and then a clip that you could kind of adjust and grip onto the figure with the little claw pieces here. And I think this is actually pretty nice. It says Crimes of Grindelwald on there. It says his name in front. And you could stick the figure on there. And I think it would make for a pretty cool little display piece, you know. It's not like this guy's going to be in crazy action poses or anything like that anyway. So I think it'd be kind of cool just to set him on this little stand, throw his little buddy on there. And I think that would look awesome, like in a glass shelf or something, along with some other characters from this universe. But yeah, this is pretty good. Okay, so now for some size comparisons. We have Newt hanging out with the McFarlane Toys Voldemort and the Bullet Head V for Vendetta. And next up, we have him alongside one of the Damn Toys SWAT figures and the 3A Robot Hunter, I think his name is. To be honest, I can't remember what either one of these figures are called, but the reason why I wanted to show them with Newt is because I feel like the body underneath all the clothing on Newt is very similar to a 3A figure or a Damn Toys figure. So if you're familiar with those toy lines, you might know what to expect when you get one of these Soap Studios figures, because the bodies feel very, very similar. And then now here we have him alongside the Mezco 112 Collective Gomez and the Mezco 112 Collective Michael Myers. And then here we have him alongside the SH Figure Arts Jack Sparrow and the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie Leonardo. Here we have him alongside the Hasbro Lightning Collection Lord Dracon and the Mafex Wolverine. And of course, we have to get him in here with the Marvel Legends Pizza Spider-Man and the Marvel Legends Bucky Cap. And for the articulation, I'm going to go ahead and show you what's possible while he's wearing his jacket, and then we'll remove it. That way we could get a good sense of what the body's actually capable of. But let's go ahead and get into it, just starting with the arms, basically. So you can move his arm forward, but it's very, very tight because the layers of clothing. Same thing over here. And when you try to move both of his arms at the same time, or to get him up at the same time, the jacket gets really, really tight. So you can see that there. So that's basically as far up as you're going to get his arms at the same time. And then you could still bend the elbows a nice amount. And look at that. Look at that elbow. That's really nice. Double jointed elbow. Bam. Really good. And you can move his arms out to the side. But I think you're going to find the most resistance when you're trying to bring both of his arms up at the same time. Which, you know, maybe you might not even have a reason to do that. So that's probably not going to be a huge issue. If you're trying to just move one of his arms up, you could go a little bit further. Oh yeah, look at that. So that's really good actually, but you're not going to be able to do that with both arms. So if you want to get his hands in the air for some reason while he's wearing his jacket, you're going to have to figure something else out. Maybe if let's see if we could kind of swivel his arm around and do that. I don't know. Maybe you could just go up the other way. I don't know. There's probably something you could figure out, but in any case, it's going to be tough if he's wearing his jacket. So we'll take this off in just a second here. But yeah, that's pretty much what he could do while he has his overcoat on. So it's not too bad at all. Okay, so here he is with his jacket off, and even though the jacket is removable, I don't think that removing the jacket was their intention, because as you can see, the soft goods get a little a little crazy right here. They're not as clean as like the rest of the figure that's exposed most of the time. Like some of the cuts and stuff are a little rough, but you know, that's okay. That's supposed to be covered anyway, so obviously it's not a big deal. But anyways, let's get into it. So his head can move side to side. It's got really nice tilt to it. It has like a similar neck joint to most Mezco figures, where you have some movement where the head meets the neck and where the neck meets the torso, but the lower neck piece is a little restricted or just doesn't move that much. But you get a lot of movement from the where the neck meets the head, so that's good stuff. You get some tilt. He could look up to about right there, look down to right there. Really nice stuff there with the head. And then for the torso, we have a mid-torso cut, a waist cut, so you can go to the side like that, which is nice. You can move back this way. he could tilt back a really nice amount. And let's see how forward he could crunch. He could only go forward to about right there. So it's pretty decent, you know, he can move around. And then for the arms, they could come all the way up, you know, without the jacket. Moves very freely and stuff. So that's good. They could come out to the side. He does have a bit of a shoulder, like not quite like a butterfly joint. It kind of feels very similar to like a Mafex joint. So that's kind of cool. Like, I think it's called like a dumbbell joint. I'm not sure, but you get some movement there, and then there's probably some space cut out from the shoulder area. So you get some movement out of the arms. That's nice. They come out to the side. You have upper bicep swivel. You've got these awesome double jointed elbows. Look at that. Bam. That's really good. At the wrist, you have a little ball joint, so you could get the rotation going. Then you have a swivel at the actual wrist itself. Then you've got a hinge. For the legs, you really want to be careful. Well, at least on mine, as I mentioned before, I had those loose stitches in the crotch area, so I'm not going to push it with his legs, but they do come out to the side. They could come forward to about right there. So that's pretty good. They could go back only to about right there. He does have a upper thigh swivel. You have this awesome double jointed knee. And what's really cool about this is that the backside of the thigh is flat. So the calf muscle doesn't like run into it and like cause like a gap to be there. So you could fold his leg a really good amount. Look at that. So that's cool. I think that's like an interesting way to do it. And then you have the lower leg swivel. Not too much going on the lower leg because of his boot, but it does move around a little bit. You've got a little bit of rocking action. Can't really go forward too much, but there's a little bit of movement, so you can get him to stand without too much issue. So, I mean, the feet are okay. It would be nice if there was a bit more articulation, but, you know, it's a boot, so what are you going to do? For the most part, I'm really happy with the articulation on this guy. I think they packed a lot of good stuff in there. I'm really impressed by the elbows and the knees. I think that's really cool how they did those two. So, good stuff there. Okay guys, so overall, I think this is a really nice figure. The soft goods are very well done, even though there are a couple of flaws. I'm not a big fan of the bow tie and the buttons, and then mine does have some loose stitching. But aside from that, I think it looks really good. The rest of the stitching looks nice, and the details are awesome. And I love the fact that there's different types of cloth on there, and a lot of layers, and a lot of good stuff going on. Overall, the figure looks incredible. The sculpting work is very well done too. The boots look nice, but for me, the highlight of the figure is probably the head sculpt, and I'm really happy to see that because that's the one thing that kind of kept me away from the early Soap Studios figures. I really wanted to get the Flash figure, but the head sculpt didn't look very good to me, and I haven't seen it in person, but I'm just going based off of like online and pictures and things like that. I thought the head sculpt didn't look very nice, so I stayed away from it, but I'm happy to see that the Soap Studios head sculpts are quality, so this is awesome. It looks just like the actor. It looks very realistic. I love the shimmer in the eyes. It goes a long way to sell that whole realistic look, and I like that it doesn't have like a plasticky, waxy type of look to the skin tone, so that's really nice. The accessories are cool too. I like the little creatures, the multiple hands, but the highlight of the accessories is definitely the suitcase. It's really good. The sculpted details on there are really nice. But yeah, overall, it's a really good figure. I think they did a nice job, and I think that fans of the Harry Potter universe will love this figure. I'm surprised that we don't see more Harry Potter stuff in the 1/12 scale. I know Figure Arts did their figures, and they look cool, but I think like with all the companies that do soft goods stuff, I think that Harry Potter is like perfect for, you know, the soft goods type of action figure in this scale. So hopefully Soap Studios does like the original characters, you know, like Harry, Hermione, and Ron, Snape, Dumbledore, all those guys. I'd be down for all of them in this style. I think that'd be cool. I really wanted to get the Figure Arts ones, but I just couldn't do it. But for soft goods, I think I'd be down. And even though I'm not the biggest fan of this particular character, to be honest with you, this guy kind of sold me on the whole Soap Studios thing, so I'm definitely gonna keep an eye out for characters that I might want. I might go back and pick up that Flash figure after all. We'll see. But I'm definitely interested in the upcoming Christian Bale Batman figure, so we'll see how that one comes out. But yeah, huge thank you to Soap Studios for sending this out to me, and I'm very grateful that you guys gave me a chance to check out your figure here, and really nice job. So I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Thank you very much. Peace.